everyone. Happy Sabbath. If you guys don't know, my name is Kayziah Samuel. I'm the youth director here at Palm Springs SCA Church, and today I'll actually be bringing you my testimony about how God healed me and provided for my family. So my testimony kind of starts when I would say I was small, so it was actually not really a big thing. My family, my dad, my mom, my sisters, they kind of noticed, that my back, it was kind of shaped weird or different. I didn't really notice anything, but I was always told, that I had the same problem that my older sister did, and I didn't really know what the problem actually was, but I just knew it had involved something to do with my back. So throughout the years, I know people kept telling me that, but I didn't really know what it was. But now, like, after the years has passed and I was actually coming to America, so I was in Barbados to actually get my visa to come to America. So now that we were there, this doctor, she actually told us that I actually had scoliosis, which is basically a curved spine. So she told me and my mom that, and it was actually not really like such a big news to us, because we kind of thought throughout the years, there was something wrong with my back, but we didn't really know what it was. So actually coming to find out and put a name to it, we were like, oh, okay. But we weren't, I guess worried or scared because of the way because of what she was telling us. She made it seem like it was very common, very normal. It was not anything to be worried about. So she said that, in the future, there is a possibility you could either get a brace or you could get surgery. So she just made it seem, that it was very common, nothing to worry about. So we were not really worried at that time. So we didn't really think it was much to have much concern about. So now throughout the years passed by, and it's not that much of a deal. It's not that visible. It's fine, no pain, no discomfort. So that it was fine. But then as I began to grow more, it actually really changed drastically, and the curve in the spine would just get worse and worse. So I remember us taking this one scan of it, and it actually saying 60 something degrees, which before it was probably 50-40. So it was actually changing so fast in that time span, and then in less than a year it went from 60 something to now 80 something degrees, and that is actually a really high number. If you guys do know about the curves in the spine. So that was actually at the climax point. It was at the worst of the worst at that point, and I now needed surgery. It was now urgent. But before, in the years, me and my mom, we were always praying about getting this surgery done, because it was constantly getting worse, and we could actually see it now physically and everything. I now had discomfort, shortness of breath, so it was now really affecting me. So now we wanted to get something done. So we tried different attempts. We were attempting a brace, but at that time it had gotten way worse that it could not actually even fit into a brace. So at that time there was really nothing to be done. The only option was surgery, and we tried to go to different doctors to get different opinions, but everyone agreed that the curve was too large to actually have a brace or anything of that sort, that the option needed was surgery. So now we kind of settled with that truth that we actually needed to get surgery. So now it was just kind of in our minds of who was going to do the surgery, when were we going to do it, how are we going to afford it. So throughout the years we just kept praying and just asking God to help us, to lead us and direct us to the right people, to help it be done in the right time, and to really just guide us throughout the way. So this wasn't necessarily easy for me, because I actually really had a lot of worries about getting the surgery. Not so much that I didn't think I would not make it off of the operation table, but the pain after the surgery was going to be really high and really intense, and the recovery was going to be, you know, a beast. So that was really just in my mind constantly. I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to experience that much pain. I don't know if I could handle it. So for so many years I was like, I don't think I'm ready. Maybe, you know, maybe next year. But it was really getting bad. And now it was 2019 and it was at its climax, 80 something degrees, and now I needed surgery. It was urgent, and now I had to get surgery. So my mom actually set up a consultant appointment with Dr. Shuffleberger, and he works at the Nicholas Children's Hospital. So this was actually one of my first kind of like consultants with like a doctor who acted so quickly. So usually the consultants I had before, they were just more so giving me information. But when we went to him, he was so straightforward. In like less than two minutes, he examined me. Yes, you need surgery. When are we gonna set up the appointment? So it was all like so fast speed. He was like, you need surgery desperately, urgently. We're gonna do it as soon as possible. And me and my mom, you know, we were just sitting there. We didn't really have time to like process everything. We were just like, oh wow, it's actually happening for real, you know? And we were just like, whew, I don't know if we're ready. So literally everything happened so fast, but it was all part of God's plan. And we would later, you know, finally actually see this. So Dr. Schaffelberger is actually really well known in his field, and he has over 40 years of experience. So God led us to someone, you know, with great experience. You know, while we were worried because, you know, he's on the older side, he actually has so many teams, so many people who work alongside him. So, you know, that was kind of like something that we were like, okay, you know, we would be in good hands in that sense. So, you know, after that, everything kind of just really was crazy. There was like no time between anything. So right that day, we actually set up the appointment of when I would actually do the surgery. So it was actually really crazy. It was a lot for me to process, and for us all, it was like a journey now we were actually going into. So shortly after, I was put on medication to prepare my body for this surgery, you know, iron, all of these things that would prepare me, because now it was happening in less than a month. And that was actually so fast paced for me. I had to make sure I was doing everything, taking my medication every single day. I was prepping my body, but also I was prepping spiritually and mentally, because this was not going to be a walk in the park for sure. It was actually going to be really rigorous and really intense. So now it's kind of coming up to closer to surgery, you know, and I'm just being filled with prayers by all of you amazing people at the church, and, you know, my friends, my family, and they're all just there with me through this journey, you know, coming up to it. And, you know, I really needed it, because now my worries were exemplified of the pain, because I don't really take pain well. And I mean, no one would really take that amount of pain well going through that recovery. But it was the biggest thing on my mind now, and I did not know if I could handle it. I was really worried, you know, but I was praying a lot, you know, that God give me the strength, you know, let me be able to actually enjoy this time. You know, you've brought me here, you've given me the right hands, the right time to do this. It was in the summer, so now all I needed was your strength. And I was just praying for God's strength, and it was not easy, but I will actually talk about the recovery time later. But the financial aspect of it, this was all included. So like I said, it was like so short. He was so urgent, so quick, so concise. This is what we're gonna do, this is the plan, let's schedule the appointment, this is how it's gonna be. So, you know, obviously that was a lot for us to take in. Now I was doing MRIs, and that MRI was like $4,000 in itself. that we actually had to pay out of pocket. So there were so many things that kind of like was like going through, like, you know, obviously my mom's mind, you know, like, how is she gonna afford this? What are we really gonna do? But, you know, over the years we were constantly praying for these three things, you know, the right hands, the right time, and provision. So these three things God actually answered all in one, and we actually would just, you know, later realize how much of a blessing and a miracle it truly was that all these things actually happened. So, you know, now I really didn't know all of the, you know, financial and the cost that actually went into it. My mom knew, you know, she didn't really want to, you know, worry me or anything, but obviously this took, like, we took a hit. So my mom had to use all her savings, you know, for this, even just the MRI, actually, because it was actually $4,000. So she actually had to use all of her savings and pay for that MRI. Oh, but that MRI experience, it was actually not really great. It's like this tube they put you in, and you're there for 30 minutes. You have to stay still, and I don't know about you guys, but if you're claustrophobic, it's not a great experience. You feel like, you know, you're about to die, like you have no air. But, you know, that's like something I had to actually do, though. And I actually took longer than 30 minutes because, you know, it was my first time, and I was kind of moving because I was just like, whew, this is crazy. This space is so small, you know. But I was just saying a prayer, and, you know, thank God that I got through it and came out of that, you know, because during it was not easy. But I'm so glad. But yes, so my mom, she took care of that, but now it was up to the surgery. And the surgery cost, I'll just say, roughly an estimate $175,000. And that's like, you know, a house right there. But yes, the surgery cost that amount of money, and obviously we don't have $175,000, you know. How are we gonna afford this, you know? But like I said, God really provided for us, and we did not even have to pay not $1 of that $175,000. So we're so grateful that God provided. The insurance covered all of the cost of the surgery, so we were so grateful to God. And literally, even he was really working out every aspect of it, because even the days following up to the surgery, the hospital actually provided us with a hotel to stay at. So we didn't even have to get a hotel for ourselves. So God was really working, and he was with us every step of the way. This journey was one that took years, was one that was following years into, and it was not an easy one. You know, I'm giving you guys a summary of it all, but every single day living with this, it not only affected me physically, affected me mentally, and it took a big toll on my confidence, my self-confidence, and it really restricted me of doing a lot of things. And I did not feel, you know, comfortable in my own skin because of it. It was so bad, it was so visible, and it was just so uncomfortable and painful. And I was just, you know, really ready for a change, but at the same time I was really hesitant because of the pain that I would feel. So I really didn't, you know what to expect, but I was just praying and asking God to just strengthen me throughout this journey. So now, you know, we're at the big day. We're doing kind of everything, getting everything together, and I couldn't eat or drink anything for that, like, 12 hours before the surgery. So, you know, that whole night we were just praying. It was my mom, Sister Tissel, me, praying, and I know so many of you at Palm Springs were praying for me, and thank you guys so much. because prayer really helps. I went on that operation table and I came out, and a lot of people don't do that, even though it is seen as a common surgery, because the people at Nicholas Children's Hospital, they do like 20,000 of those a year. So it was actually a routine procedure, and they expected it to be routine. But I wouldn't know how it would have went. So God really delivered me, and he brought me through all of it. There were complications in the surgery, which I would find out later because I was under anesthesia, obviously. So I wouldn't really know of these complications, but it was actually a big worry to my mom because I would need blood and everything. So throughout, it could paint a bad picture. They had to do a different plan. They went in with one plan, but it was too bad. So now they had to quickly change the plan, and that actually worried my mom because we were going into it with one plan that the doctor gave us. So now they had to change it up. So they took a piece of my ribs and they kind of used that alongside with the rods and the screws. So it's a steel rod, it's alumni, it's kind of not anything that will beep at the airport. It's not anything like that. It's definitely like higher technology and everything. So, and the ribs, I'm not a doctor, but the ribs and everything they put together, it was to kind of give it a more like natural look and help it to kind of grow into it more naturally, and kind of make it grow stronger as I recovered. So it all kind of went into place and was kind of done. So now I'm waking up out of anesthesia, and I kind of remember this. I don't remember too much because when you're under and you wake up, you don't remember a lot, but I just remember me singing, and I was just singing, and I was actually singing praising God. And I was actually, apparently to the nurses, they were telling me how funny I was and all of these things I was saying. I was like, really? I did not know. I was actually saying that, but my mom said it actually comforted her a lot to know that I was waking up singing and praising God, because if something was to happen, she would have been comforted knowing that I actually had my faith and my relationship with God. So it was actually such a crazy journey. But the journey actually had just begun, because now the pain, it was exactly what I was preparing mentally for. But obviously when you're actually going through that physically, it's not easy. The pain was definitely at its peak. It was hard, but of course they provided me with medicine and all of these strong medicines and everything. And that I was actually on that for the 3 days I was there. So I was on the really strong medicines. It's kind of like going out of my mind, so I don't remember the name, but I'm sure you guys know the medicine they kind of put you on for pain, the really strong ones. So I was on that, and they gave me the button every time I'm in pain to press it, and let's just say that button was always being pressed. But there is a max, because I can't actually overdo it. I kind of forgot exactly what they said, but I know it has to go with something, so you can't actually like use it that much. It's actually timed. But at some point, to me, I thought it actually stopped. Like the pain medicine was not working at all. And obviously it was working. It was flowing through me. The nurses were like, yeah, it's on, and I'm like, oh really? I don't feel it at all. So now I'm just there, and the pain, it's just like, wow. And honestly, I'm not the most pleasant person when I'm in pain. I'm really grumpy, unfortunately. So I was the worst patient for my mom. She did not have an easy time with me, because I cannot deal when I'm in pain at all. So I really felt bad for her. This medication to me was not working. The sleeping, the position my back, OMG, it was in so much pain. It was so uncomfortable. Like, what was sleep? Because I did not get any sleep. But you know, every single day I would have to sit in the chair for 30 minutes and actually try to take a walk. I was supposed to walk around for like 6 times. I probably accomplished 2 times of that. Like, it was really bad for me. You know, you know, God was giving me strength through it all, though. He really was helping me and guiding me through. And during that, obviously, you know, you're in so much pain, and my thought was like, wow, you know, I think I was better off before without, you know, the surgery. But, you know, coming towards the end of my recovery, I would realize, you know, how fortunate I was to actually have the surgery. And now that, you know, the pain had subsided, it was the best thing that could have happened for me. So, you know, 3 days in the hospital, comfortable nights, really painful nights, trying to walk again. And it was not an easy process at all. You know, family and church members, pastor, brother Hans, I remember they visited me. It was really appreciated, and I know a lot of you guys were praying for me, so thank you guys so much. But you know, now it was day 3, and I was going back home, which it was actually kind of a sticky situation, because I would have to be in a car. And now after my surgery, I was actually, you know, 2 inches taller. So I was like 5'8" before, so now I was like 5'10" and a half. So now, you know, I'm taller, and the seats uncomfortable, cars uncomfortable. So now the big worry was, how was I actually gonna sit in this car ride to come home, because it was a distance from actually where I was. It was all the way in Miami, and you know, I live here in Lake Worth, so that was a drive in itself. So obviously that was on our minds. How would I, you know, actually be able to sit down there, you know, through all of that. But you know, I actually did. God strengthened me, and he allowed me to be able to go through the drive, and it was fine. You know, a little bumpy, had to drive slowly, because any little thing would like really affect me. I would feel the pain, any little bump or anything, I could feel it. So you know, we had to really drive really cautiously. So now I was home, and I actually live on the 2nd floor, and there's stairs. So yes, so now there's stairs, and I have to climb up the stairs and walk. And now I'm actually, you know, 3 days post-op, you know, just now trying to get back my strength, learning how to walk. So now I actually had to walk up a flight of stairs, and I think that was actually one of a funny experiences. But you know, thank God, you know, I made it up the stairs, you guys. I made it up the stairs. But yes, so now everything was kind of reordered. These past months would be very, very difficult. My sleeping habits were, you know, not like it was before. The pain was hard to deal with, and it was one of the hardest processes and times I actually ever went through. And you know, obviously in that, God really strengthened me. Even actually, I'd say 2 weeks in, or 1.5 week in, I actually kind of cut off my medication. And you know, that's a big thing, because obviously it's so much pain, and you're supposed to be on medication. But I did not feel comfortable being on the medication. You know, opioids are really addictive. I did not want to get addicted, and they didn't make me feel good, you know. And I would later actually realize, you know, they were actually causing mood swings and causing me anxiety. So I really did not like those medications, so I really had to get off them. And you know, now I'm off them, and now I have to deal with the pain on my own without any aid from meds. So this, you know, was a process. It was very difficult to do, but 3 months later, God, he healed me. I was walking fine. I was able to take long walks now. I was able to kind of get back my motion, kind of do all the things that I couldn't do before. I could shower myself now. I could walk, make breakfast for myself, although I don't cook, but make myself food, basically do small things. And God really transformed me. Like, seeing how I was from day one to 3 months later, it was a total transformation by God, and he strengthened me through it all. So today I'm just here to encourage you guys. God works miracles. He still cares for you. He's still working in your favor. And if you pray and believe in him, in his perfect time and in his perfect will, he will do what is best. And I'm here to tell you guys that God answered my prayer, and he can answer yours. So thank you guys so much for being with me through this testimony. I know it was kind of lengthy, and thank you guys so much for those of you who were with me through my journey and who prayed for me. So I'm here to tell you that I'm fully healed, fully recovered, full range of motion. And God is doing great things for my life, and God can do great things for your life. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your Sabbath. Bye.